the Lincoln Intramural Turf Fields for Boise State's home opener against Idaho State Bengals today. I'm joined here for a season opener.
I'm expecting ISU to be an experienced club. I think they got a lot of young guys, so it's going to take them a while to develop what they want to do on the rugby pitch, and we'll kind of see how they interact with how Boise State wants to play against them. It should be a good game, though, because both teams are young, and you expect them to kind of take a while to develop kind of what they want to do on the pitch.
And when we take a look at Boise State, last year, 2-7, but with a lot of inexperience. This year, a lot of freshmen, but optimism seems to be a lot higher this year.
Yeah, I think, and I know the coaches fairly well. Last year, they were trying to, really establish their program. This year, they actually got the numbers. So, and that's what you really need. You need guys out playing with the team, learning what they want to do, and then guys who know what they want to do. So the coaches are able to teach a lot more than they're normally used to with guys who have never played the game.
Most definitely. And, when we take a look at the 8 and 9 positions for Boise State, both two true freshmen. You have Cedar Sherbrun at the 8, and then at 9, you also had Zach Stoltz. And so what kind of factors are going to play, especially when you put in freshmen?
Right, and I think it will kind of develop the continuity of the game. If the scrum half's able to kind of feed the ball to the forwards and the backs and kind of just play that game plan that the coaches want them to play, it should be effective. But they are young, and that will kind of play on them as far as how the game develops. So we'll kind of see how that dynamic works. But, those two working together, and hopefully they stick around and play with the club, that should be an interesting dynamic and probably a potential good 8 and 9 to play together for the next 4 years. So this is basically where it starts, and in 4 years.
Definitely a lot to see Big Red, Cedar Sherbrun. Now, when we take a look at Griffin Moser, number 5, you really like this guy, don't you?
And I coached against him in high school, and he was one of those players that made a difference for Mountain Rugby out of South Carolina. A good player, led him this state championship. And I expect him to win the ball in the air quite a bit and kind of just dominate the set pieces for Boise State rugby.
And Boise State now getting set for the kickoff to Idaho State. And with the inexperience that Idaho State has, with so many guys, about half the team almost, how do you go approaching your game plan when you come up against a team like Boise State with these advantages they have?
I think with Boise State, what they want to do is just kind of stick to the platform. It doesn't matter who's in that position, but you want them to kind of stick and play hard. Boise State, as athletic as they are getting, I expect, a little, in the first half, a little bit of, not being able to complete the final game plan, but I expect them to do really well. We'll see how their tackling goes and whether or not Idaho State's dynamic enough to move the ball. So I expect Boise State to have a good game, and we'll see how Idaho State plays against it.
And tackling, definitely going to be a factor with the inexperience. And here's the kick. Jump ball, and it's knocked away by Joe Green.
We got ourselves a knock on. He's calling a knock on against Boise State. Ball will go to ISU for the scrum down and the put in.
And so now we're going to see the first scrum through the scrum half. And now when we notice here, we look at this scrum. Now we were talking about Boise State has the size advantage, and so how is this going to affect the scrums? Do you expect Boise State to overwhelmingly start winning these?
Well, it depends. If the ball is technically put in and Idaho State's able to establish that they can get the ball out, and I think, they'll have a good chance.
Oh, and then he's brought down hard. Gets it out to his wing. And Cedar Sherbrun, great defense. It's going to go out of bounds.
Pretty good job for the number 8 to get over there real quickly and coming out of the scrum, working the other side of the pitch, able to get that knocked.
And so now this is the first line out.
When you're looking at this ball and they're in their own 22, Idaho State is. They got to win this line out, and usually most teams will kick out of this position. So if they can win their line out, they'll definitely go for the kick out and try to give the ball back to Boise State in a decent position. But looks like they did something wrong here. And so it's a penalty to Idaho State.
So Idaho State restarts. Toss, trying to get to the outside. Just a swarm of Broncos there. And he still pushes through.
And they call this a maul. What they're trying to do is retain possession and get the ball moving forward.
Fly to the ball so far.
Yeah, defensive pressure looks absolutely good right now. They're coming up hard on their backs, not letting them kind of dictate what they're going to do. You know, they got 1 or 2 guys coming up hard. They really need 5 guys coming up hard to pressure indecision. But, you know, they won the line out here, and that's good.
And Stoltz looking to take the ball up. Toss dropped, but picked back up by Boise State. He's going to be brought down about 10 yards further. And another toss.
Oh, we got a break.
That's the Griffin Moser.
Nice little
That's
break
your
by
guy.
him. Yeah, nice little break by him.
And they're getting to that goal line there. It looks like they are in. But let's see what the ref.
Yeah, he's held up right now. You can see a clear put in by number 4. So, you know, what they'll do is the ball will go back for 5-meter scrum, but it still will be Boise State's put in. So they're attacking, looking good right now.
And let's talk about the scoring here. So, 5 points after a try.
Yes.
And what else? What happens after you get a try?
Well, if you go in and you take the ball in on a try, the ball will go back where the guy wants to kick it, about 10 meters back. Oh, here comes.
And there's Big Red.
Yeah.
And Big Red gets
he's
in for the try.
Yes.
Put up 5 points for Boise State already. Quick start.
And we expected that from him. You know, he's a very dynamic player. He used to play in the backs a lot because of his talent. But the Boise State coaches wanted him to play.
There, just take a look here. Goal line here. Breaks one. Nothing there. It takes about 4 guys to even bring him down, but at that point, he was already going down.
Oh, yeah. And great dynamic run by him.
So now we're going to see.
Well, it looks like they just got the 2 points from their fullback, number Sierra Artiga.
So that's 7 points for the Broncos, 7-0. Very quick start for ISU. And so for ISU, now that, you know, you didn't want to give up a try on the very first possession, but you did. What do you do now? You really just can't let the gates open.
Well, I mean, if you think about the way the game has gone so far, they've basically been on the backside of their 22, trying to, you know, build pressure to get out, but a lot of mistakes here and there, kind of state opportunities and chances, and they took care of it right away. So for Idaho State, they got to get that ball out of their deep 22 and try to pressure Boise State.
And it is very hard to win games when you can't execute.
Yeah, just like that. You know, that's a kickoff. It has to go 10 meters next to that dotted line you see out there. And now Boise State will get a scrum half in the center of the pitch. So once again, you're giving the ball to Boise State easy.
With very, very good field position.
Yeah.
And they don't seem like they're being slowed down anytime soon. They just seem like they just keep attacking it, like we've said earlier, just being aggressive. But home opener, probably want to motivation there to start the season.
Oh yeah, and looks like they've been working hard on their base. You know, that's what you need in games.
And that's number 10, Mitch Castro. Good carry. There's Stoltz on the blanket.
Got a penalty or a knock-on advantage to Idaho State. Paul Grimstead, number 1, knocked on. True freshman out of Eagle, Idaho.
And looks like the ball went off the referee's face there. Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
So we restart on the scrum. And that's going to be number 9, James Lewis again.
So it'll be kind of interesting to see what attack.
Now let's see, it's just bobbing on the ground, just able to pick it up before it was picked up by the Broncos. And they're going to retain possession. Tries to just push forward right through the middle. Gets a little bit there. Boise State, they're not giving up any big plays, it seems like. It doesn't seem like Idaho State, they can get about 5 yards, but as far as breakaways or anything like that, Boise State's doing a great job containing them. And again,
penalty time. Looks like he's saying Boise State guys didn't roll away on the last ruck.
And here's the kick. That's out to 14. Devin Guy. He's very big for a wing, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Usually you have your small, skinny guys out there, but at 6'3", 215, he should be in the forwards, but apparently he's fast enough to be out there in the back. So we'll see how that plays out.
What kind of advantages does that give you when your wing is a lot bigger than average?
Well, if you're dynamic enough of a runner, you know, you can make a move or two and then actually gain your team about 20 meters. You know, 6'3", 215 is a good wing size for a higher level of rugby. So as the game develops and goes on.
And, you know, we talked about this earlier. Now, normally a coach is going to want to go with their two. Now, what wins the decision to go with Cedar here as the lineout thrower?
You know, and Cedar probably has a better ball out there, and they're not really instituting anything to kind of get him to play him within the line out. So
and he's got a good break there. Sorry to cut you off there,
Brad.
Brad.
No, it's fine. You know, and Cedar's good enough to just let him throw in that ball and do his work, and then they'll go from there. But it's also important to kind of get him behind the ruck when it is developed and allow him to get the ball out to others.
And looked like Nine tried to pass the ball there, but immediately brought down. Reflexes for the defense. And keep Boise State from getting out of reach.
Knock on by Idaho State. Okay, fair enough.
Let's see, now we got referee sorting things out. Here's Zach Stoltz.
State, they should be able to retain possession on this.
And quick toss. He's just going to chip that one.
Yeah, and he's got one advantage
And
right now. So if
picked up by Idaho State in the tri-zone.
So ball brought in the tri-zone. He touches it down in the tri-zone. So they're going to call a 22 drop here. Oh, now he's going to go with a 5-meter scrum. So it should be Boise State's ball at the 5-meter line, which basically what he's saying is the player had possession of the ball in the field and then brought it back into the tri-zone. So there's kind of a difference there in how that penalty is called or play is called.
And this not a particularly good situation for Idaho State right now, especially when you have to get from the goal line. So let's see what Boise State does here.
State's a little disjointed, so look at Idaho State just kind of push them over a little bit. So they're going to have to take that back. So Idaho State should win. Oh, no. Yep, they did get the ball on this.
And they do. Idaho State gets out of a hole. And that's Cedar right off his body, out of bounds.
Hey, it's good on him, though, because if the ball goes out of bounds, it's Idaho State's ball. If he just happens to pick it up and win that ball, you know, they get a good ball right there when it's supposed to be Idaho State's penalty. What the Idaho kicker wants to get that ball out of bounds so that they can retain possession. So he's got to make every effort.
Today, the Broncos got to have a good rugby IQ out there. Here's the line out for Idaho State. Knocked back to Idaho State. And he caught that out of bounds.
Well, he caught it inbounds and then pressured out of bounds once again by Cedar Sherborne, who's just tearing it up today. And And now it's going to be Boise State's ball with the line out right there at the 22. So Cedar is definitely playing a massive, massive element on this game.
And you can really see it out there. Very aggressive and very quick on his cuts and everything, especially when on his breaks for the ball and everything.
Yeah, but it looks like the ref has decided to go with another decision. He's allowing Idaho State to put in the ball. So there might have been a knock on in the line out. So it's Idaho State ball again.
And Idaho State. That's going to go to Cedar. And who else but Big Red, of course. Looks like Boise State try to continue that. And Idaho State, since that first try, really seems like they're holding their own more on defense so far, playing a little bit more aggressively and actually securing their tackles better.
Yeah, not too bad by them so far, but I expect with the pressure they're getting, they're eventually going to break down. And Boise State's really controlling the tempo of the game right now. And that's because their inability to play offense, ends up.
Look at the amount of subs each non-league game and more.
Right.
And you look, Idaho State only has one sub.
One whole sub for the game.
And so eventually, as players wear down, that is going to take a toll on them, when they get those fresh legs in there for Boise State. So.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out too later in the second half. But yeah, that's a big advantage to Boise State, and that's what you get a lot with travel games for teams. Think about it like in football when you're dressing 85 for the FBS level, and then you play like Boise State did this year against an FCS team like Idaho State. They got 55 guys, and that plays a massive role on how things develop as the game goes on. Yeah. Well, I mean, the game you're playing. It's not like football. The guys don't get on the sidelines and get to take a break. They have to go at it, for 80 minutes. And it's like running a marathon, or a 10K, and then also having 3 or 4 wrestling matches in between. So it's probably the hardest sport you have to play as far as fitness levels.
Oh yeah, lots of running, picking up, throwing, almost any athletic movement you can probably imagine happens in rugby.
You have to be in top form to play this game. Ooh, we got an overload on the right here. We'll see how that develops.
Brought down hard.
Turnover ball.
And so now he put the ball down, but it went to Idaho State.
Well, he plays that ball way too far ahead of himself, and kind of knocked it forward, and the Idaho State guys were in perfect position to win that ball.
So Idaho State called a break there, with Boise State threatening. Again.
Yeah, our
Boise State.
Placement's looking a little off here, but Pat, the sir, is going to go back to the original knock and get the ball over to ISU. So a lot of 3 or 4 knocks in between there. So it's early in the season for the teams, and they're just kind of a little shaky on their ball placement right now after they do get tackled.
And, it's just early season based this week game.
Yeah, a lot of these guys played on grass in high school, and they don't understand how turf works and how not to place the ball. After making an athletic move and going into the tacklers, you want to just place the ball lightly for your guys, but sometimes a lot of guys just place it hard.
And that's Wilson with the kick. That's going to go to Luke Richardson. Takes it to the left side. Refuses to get brought down. And quick break there on Idaho State's part, but still stays to Nick Blanchett on the catch there.
Usually when you crash to your forwards, you're just trying to retain possession and open things up.
Oh, and chip, and it's immediately caught by Manning.
Retaining the possession. Yeah, because of it.
It's a heads-up play.
Yeah. This ball will surely go out into the parking lot.
And you were correct. So the ball goes out of bounds.
You know, we're 22 minutes in right now, and, you know, both teams haven't been able to grasp their game plan right now, but the breakdowns are tough. Everybody's looking good. I mean, it's a pretty good rugby game. I expected a lot more scrums, but so far so good, you know.
Can't really complain
No,
so far when it's close.
Oh, yeah.
It's always good to see it close. So here's Idaho State on their next line. And let's see, fight for the ball. Looks like Idaho State might have it underneath the pile there. They do.
Look at the Boise State backs are pressuring pretty hard up there, getting behind the gain line. That's pretty good out of them. Trying to fight for the ball in the ruck.
Look at that push there by Mosner.
Looks like the ref's going to go back to that original knock-on from the line-out. It wasn't really calling advantage there, but there was definitely a knock-on the line-out. So it should be Idaho State's ball.
And so we restart with Idaho State in possession.
Yeah, these, you know, if you watch the ball in these put-ins so far in the scrum,
And that looks like that rolled towards Boise State's side.
Yeah,
it looks like Boise State wins Idaho State scrum.
Yeah, he fed that ball, not a good feed on it.
Oh, look at that by Mitch Castro. All the way across midfield and some change.
The Boise
And it looked like a good strategy when you have the
yeah, they're trying to do bring their defense, and then once they are collapsing, then you got space. So we'll see how that goes for them.
looking for a hole. Idaho State. Now they're looking to go out to Castro. Castro
Ooh,
just
at
kicks
that.
that towards the touch.
Let's see if 15 can get there before everybody else.
And
He's
it
kinda
looks
got the
like
grip.
it.
Oh,
Sierra Ortega was hauling all the way over there, but just not able to pick it up. Would have been a big play for the Broncos.
Yeah, and because it went out of bounds, this is one of those things where it's one of the, especially on turf, you kick the ball, it's going to bounce around, and it goes out of bounds, and it's they call it on the full in rugby, which means it goes back to the original spot it was kicked. It looks like here that the ref is 22 drop.
Kick. No. They restart. Good kick. It's going to go to the fullback, Ortega.
And there's our big ween right there.
And there's Cedar Sherburne.
Definitely in a position that the 8's not normally in those situations, but he made it work.
And he's just been all over the place today. No surprises there that he's around the ball. And again, Stoltz over to Ryan Shear.
A lot of spacing out there for the backs.
And good pass. They're trying to get it out to the wing. Oh!
All right. Backs, backs, they did a couple of misses. I'm not sure if they had the switch called on, but, 15 meters on that gain, not too bad for them. They just need to hold possession there.
So we bring on Idaho State for another line out. Remember, when Boise State has so many tall players, how does that factor into the line out, having those long arms there to hit the ball?
Well, just like right now, turnover ball on that line out. Good job by Mosier. We're able to win that ball. Oh, unfortunately, the backs could contain it. But, yeah, winning that ball in the air before they could get it back to the other guy. I think Idaho State knows that they have a size disadvantage. So what they're trying to do is go over that. You got 2 6'3" guys throwing up a 6'5" guy set, and you got to throw over that and still have the timing down. It's not working for Idaho State right now.
And it's really hard to throw over 14 feet.
Oh, yeah.
In rugby.
Get your timing down, too. So it's working out for Boise State.
And so far, they don't look bad. Just haven't been able to get another try on the board.
Yeah.
And pass to Castro, but the referee is going to call it back.
Another knock on for Boise State. It was an unfortunate call. Probably from the take by the number 9, but 3 out of the last 4 scrums, Boise State had won. So it could be either that their hooker is up to it or number 9 is not being.
And bounce pass, Wing trying to pick it up, but Boise State is too aggressive, and referee's going to call this one back as well.
Very aggressive. You know, I watched the number 6 on that particular play. That flank, call him the flanker position, came up pretty hard on that, and you know you're pressuring the fly half to make a decision, and he kicks it out, and then you know your number 12 and your number 13 are up pressing hard on your fullback, and before you know it, you know you're making these terrible decisions. They turn over the ball once again. So I think once Boise State's able to kind of get their stuff together out there, you know, they should be dominating this match.
Cast foot there.
By him.
And normally, end position or kicker, and normally, do they normally kick off their left and right foot? Switch footers?
You know, they should be. I wouldn't say able to kick off their foot, but the way they can position their body should be able to work to kick with whatever dominant foot they have to get in a position there. Oh.
And just on the ground, Boise State trying to pick it up. That's
like
Connor Wells.
Able to clean it up, though. Let's see if they can get that ball back. There they go.
So looking,
Oh,
fakes the pass, breaks right through Idaho State.
He's got nobody with him, though.
Eric Stoltz. Great play by Stoltz, reading that in the defense, finding a hole. And Boise State's moving down quick now.
Able to take advantage. And number 9 is
Castro brought down, good tackle. Stoltz out to his fullback, Ortega. And Idaho State really trying to keep Boise State out of here. They really don't want to fall behind 2 tries to Boise State, especially the way Boise State's been playing so far.
Definitely. Looks like Boise State ended up turning over ball. I didn't quite see the call, but I'm going to guess that it was diving over by Boise State. But yeah, I mean, they're playing really well so far. Boise State. Well, you drill the boys a lot, and you kind of get them working in your game plan. But then every once in a while, guys panic. You know, so sometimes guys take ball into the ground. You know, and you want to get it back, you want to get it moving, and then sometimes guys try to make moves that instead of going to ground, it seems like the closer you get to the try zone, they're making indecisions and trying to make a move when they got all those guys. So they just need to know that they're part of a greater game plan here.
And it's worked out great for Idaho State so far. They're able to stay in this game. It's only 1 possession, so.
Yeah, and that's basically because of Boise State's mistakes.
Picked up immediately, gets off the pass. Here's Castro. He's out Ortega. Tried to Devin Guy, but just was not able to get the pass off.
Yeah, and if you look down at there, the penalty is going to be called on ISU. We got a penalty here that, looks like he might go in.
He's in for a try, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely. Like that, and ISU took advantage, the ball in, uncontested.
There's Stoltz. Great job so far commanding the scrums. No complaints at all.
Yeah, no complaints at all. BSU is moving the ball effectively. It's basically going down to their mistakes that they make from time to time.
We see there, just brought down right into the try zone, and that's just bang play.
Yeah.
So here is 13, Eric Fallon for a 2-point conversion.
Right. If you notice, if you've never seen the game before, he's going to kick it uncontested, and looks like he's going to get it through.
Right down the middle.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard because wherever you score the try in the try zone, you got to bring the ball back to that exact spot. Extra point in the NFL or in football in general, but the angles they end up playing with you a little bit, so you got to come up on that kick a little differently than you would.
And how different is it kicking a rugby ball to a football for people who just have never played rugby before?
In rugby, the ball has a little more air on it, is a little bigger. but it can be the same, but it's just that ball will fly up a little bit more than it would in a regular football.
Oh, and great speed by Nate Salmons.
They should have the advantage here on the kick, and look at this space right here.
Wow, just open field here. And he's got a huge break, finding holes. That's Luke Richardson. Right up the middle.
Now, Connor Wells had a good take there. Because it's about after a back takes a good possession, it's all about what can you do with the ball after that. And Boise State did really well on that, able to take the ball out of that.
Castro,
like we gotta move here.
Trying to work something, able to get it to Farrell.
Yeah,
Sherbrun waiting on the outside. Farrell
he
breaks
wants
off.
the ball. Oh,
this is a
he's
Sherbrun, and that's going to be a try. And he slides.
Yeah.
Shows off a little bit of speed there, but when you're able to get a tries like that, it doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, and his field presence is amazing right now as a freshman because usually if you score, you just kind of put it down right there where you enter, and he was able to kind of take it closer into the try zone and get an easier kick for his number 13.
We see on the replay here. So it gets to Castro. Good fake here. And then it was actually almost a disaster. And then just look at this.
Yeah, forwards cleaned it up well on this, number 2, the hooker, is good break on him, kind of took it through and then opened up right to the number 8. Sometimes coaches cringe on that because they don't want to see their forwards being that dynamic on the outside. But, in that situation, it worked well for them. So, they'll definitely take it. So coaches are probably liking the situation right now.
Boise State.
Boise State's kind of dominating the game right now. I mean, if you were to throw out a possession percentage, they probably had the ball 80% more than Idaho State. Everything's good for them, and that's a thing. You make a lot of mistakes there. The game goes on. Things are going to work out for you. So they're just absolutely dominating this game right now.
It almost just seems like we're just watching them. Just Boise State scrimmage Idaho State only on offense.
Pretty much.
When ISU is on offense, it's just for about a minute or two to get about 5 yards, and then it seems like Boise State's been getting it back.
And Idaho State's just not coming up with any type of play to retain possession. Keeping it within the forward pack and then giving it out to the closer backs. So. If they keep on going out to their wing, they're isolating him. So they need to keep that ball in to develop some type of game plan as the game goes on.
And let's see if Idaho State can let their offense go as we near the end of our play.
I won't be surprised right here if Boise is able to just win this ball and get that height up, win this ball on the line out. And, Idaho State's having to change their game plan because they're not able to throw to their first jumper because of the height advantage that the Boise State has.
And I guess he didn't like that ball.
No.
So here's the line out. Idaho State able to get that. That's going to go out to number 10, Andy Wilson.
Yeah, but look at that pressure right there. I mean, you never want to go 10 meters back in your line out, and that's exactly what Idaho State had to do. So good pressure by Boise State.
And it looks like they're just trying to find some hole. Good move going right. Looks like Castro was able to with that.
Turnover ball, but the fly half needs to clean that up a little bit. Looks like we got an out of bounds call again. So we just had about 3 or 4 phases. It probably originally went back to the spot again.
And Idaho State gets another chance at a line out.
So I think what you want on there is your fly half to kind of reset the backs again, especially on a turnover ball, and get the ball going forward. They were a little loose on that. He only had 1 or 2 backs on his left-hand side, but he needs to kind of be smarter than that and kind of change up that ball.
And not able to get that line out. That's going to go to, looks like number 6. Can't really tell. Number 9, Eric Stoltz.
And that's what they do. Boise State's pressuring their line out, and then a turn.
But I think what most importantly I've seen is he's really distributing the ball well.
Yeah, it looks like he's just, becoming a good scrum half there where all he's got to do is feed the ball to his playmakers, and they're getting it done on the pitch.
Here's Castro again on the Eric foul.
Yeah, like that right there.
Trying to work to the outside, working maybe to the wing, but Idaho State closes off that outside there. And again on the scrum, Castro.
Yeah, we don't like that too much. When the back meters of territory take right there.
Oh, and look at that, right up the middle.
Oh, mercy tackle by their fullback. Good on him though. He was the last guy.
He's doing his job well.
Oh yeah.
So Boise State trying to extend this. Castro.
Look at Cedar Sherburne right there in good position.
Great fake. Castro's in for the try.
Excellent there by Boise State. I mean, if you think about it, they just put about 7 to 8 possessions together, what they call phases in rugby. And, when you can put together 7 or 8 phases of rugby at this level, you're most definitely going to have a chance to score. And Boise State retained ball well there, didn't panic.
So look here, just fake to Sherburne, really fooled them, just created that hole for Castro.
As if that guy went up to kind of key at Sherburne the way he's been kind of impacting the game, and yeah, made that mistake, left open that hole, and the fly half attacked it around the edge. So good job on them.
Once again, Boise State shows that the team is doing very well. You said that the coach wanted to work on technical things, fundamental-wise. It looks like once they've settled into the game, you're doing a very great job of all those aspects.
Yeah, definitely. And as a team kind of develops that confidence. That confidence as they gain throughout the game, game's going to become a lot open for them because they're going to start to throw that second or third ball instead of try to worry about just taking the ball to the ground. And sometimes another team can't really defend them. It's going to break it wide open for Boise State as it kind of is here. 28 to 34 minutes to go in the first half.
And not quite the position you want to be in at halftime in your season opener down by 4 tries.
Yeah, exactly. Idaho State definitely needs to come up with something. They've been given opportunities to retain possession, but their creativity is a little down right now.
It looks like they've just been trying to find holes just in the forward pack, just trying to grind it out.
Yeah, Boise State plays a kind of game plan where they're going to use their forwards to take slow ball and open it up to their backs, and it's working really well for them right now. There's a lasting hit right there.
Let's see, and Boise State is going to get that ball.
It's like we're going to have a stoppage of time here.
A little up.
Yeah.
Able to get it. That's good.
Yeah, well, he threw all into that there, and it was a great hit on his part.
And it was all worth it for him, probably.
Yeah, he'll fill it tomorrow, or maybe not, as young as they are, but, definitely a great hit on his part.
So it looks like Boise State.
So what they
not
do,
quite sure if they're going to kick off for up the scrum here.
What they'll probably do is just go off for an injury, and what they'll do is, depending on how the player feels, either bring in a blood sub, or it looks like he got the wind knocked out of him. And what they'll do is just kind of give the ball back to a scrum for Boise State, and I expect number 4, to probably go back into the game again.
And we see about 3 minutes to play here.
Their confidence is definitely growing as the time goes on, because I don't think they've beaten Idaho State in a long time, and as they develop that confidence, they're just going to become very dynamic out there on the pitch. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't surprise if they just run their plays and see if it works, but I imagine the players are just getting excited as the game goes on. So normally teams in a smarter would kick through this, but nope, they're just going to take it. Say Idaho State try to stop us.
Castro, just great moves. The pump fakes that he's given here, just the fake passes are incredible. It's throwing them way off.
And you'll kind of see that it develops with the fly half. So the fly half is
Boise State restart.
Yep, looks like they got the penalty. Not sure why. I'm just going to guess that they were collapsing that scrum. Oh, but
Goes Idaho State. Not quite out of bounds, but he's brought down immediately.
Yeah, well, it looks like the touch judge went ahead and called out of bounds, so it should be Boise State's ball right there.
And we'll see if they bring up the line, and they do.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that, you know, during the injury, what they did was they didn't stop the clock. So I imagine that there's about 3 more minutes of the game, which is plenty of time for them to score. Yeah, and looks like Boise State's just going to maul this until Idaho State can stop them. And look at that.
Look at that maul. Wow. It just pushes through again right up the middle, and it looks like they're just going to power through here. And they're going to go to the outside of the backs.
They should have a lot of spacing here. Oh, look at this.
Look at that.
Big boy, yeah.
And he looks like he's got the try.
Yeah, and we kind of, you know, we talked about that earlier about number 14, Devin Guy, about his size. And there you see it right there. You know, he's probably playing a guy who's got 4 inches and 40 pounds less than him, and he was able to power through on that, you know. Although, you know, you kind of want him to give it to the guy on the outside. He fancied himself big at that time and was able to carry it in.
Just something that no one else saw. They get 35-0 at the half. And is this what you expected out of Boise State coming in?
You know, I expected a little bit more mistakes out of Boise State. I wasn't quite sure if they would, with, you know, having the young roster, that they'd be able to put it all together. But, you know, the game plan has been exceptional on their part, and they got a lot of players with creativity. So, you know, I'm not quite sure. Looks like they've already decided to call it half.
And as the clock winds on to 0, and now Boise State showing a dominating performance, 35-0 so far, just looking very well in all aspects of the ball. What have you loved so far?
You know, what I've liked about Boise State is they've allowed playmakers. You know, at number 10, the number, you know, Cedar Sherborne at number 8. A lot of times what you'll get is in the game of rugby is you'll get a lot of guys wanting to do things on their own, but it seems like their forward pack especially understands their role and is playing to their role and getting the ball out to the backs, and that's been a great part of it all.
All right, and with that, we're going to take a little break as we go into halftime. Boise State up 35-0 in the home opener. And welcome back to Boise State fields, or turf fields here. Idaho State is going to by nothing. Now, Brad, what does Idaho State need to do this half to have a chance at even making this a game?
You know, and Idaho State just hasn't really put together any type of possession or phases. You know, if you look at the way they've been playing lately, they've been 2 to 3 phases at best and nothing more. And, you know, a team that ends up scoring puts together 5 to 6 phases, sometimes 8 or 9. What happens with Idaho State right now is there's just way too much creativity going on by their players who control the ball. So they just need to kind of settle down a little, get those phases going, and see if they can expose the gaps. But if you can't put anything more than 2 phases together, you know, you don't have a chance.
And for Boise State, what do they need to do? Now, already they're already
well, it's like they came with a couple of switches, opportunities, you know, and it's important to kind of just keep that continuity together. I expect them to try to control ball a little more and then be dynamic like this turnover here enough to just retain possession and keep creative. Looks like they're going to be called for the knock here.
Boise State going to restart possession now after the knock.
Well, it looks like he's going to give the ball to Idaho State, but that was good once again on the lineout. Good pressure by Boise State. Boise State has absolutely dominated the lineouts today. The pressure, winning the ball in the air, just pressuring Idaho State to overthrow the ball.
I think it's enough. Push
backwards, never in the game.
Almost in any sport, going backwards. Probably not what you want.
Yeah, and if you look at their continuity of their game, I mean, knock on there, just there's a lot of people panicking right now, and that's not what you want. You want your number 10, you know, you just gave up 10 meters. You want him to take the ball to the ground and reset yourselves, but if they're trying to be too loose and too dynamic, you know, they're going to turn over ball right away.
And it was evident in the first half, especially. As that lead for Boise State grows and grows, you know, the pressure for Idaho State to get something going also grows.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looks like Sherbrod can pick that up.
Yeah, he definitely gave up an easy ball.
And a lucky break by Idaho State. Boise State has it. And immediately take it upfield. That's going to go to Farrell. And Farrell's breaking at least 3 tackles right there. And that guy, it's like nobody can tackle him today.
Yeah, that's what you want out of your hooker. Look at this overload here. It's just Boise State's just got Idaho State on the back foot, just pressuring the ball forward. It's a good job by them.
And the continuity of this offense is incredible to watch.
Yeah, and look at that. I mean, scrum half takes the ball around and just scores an easy try. And if you look at that, Idaho State was just bunched up. So even the capability attacking the ball around the edge there.
It's hard to beat power, especially in a sport like rugby when you got to, you know, when you're always pushing and scrumming and all things like that, tackling. So it's just hard to overcome, you know, unless you have a very good game plan, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I think what the Boise State coaches are going to want to do now is just kind of get their guys to say, like, okay, we're capable of just pushing and dominating this team, but let's stick to our game plan, you know, because you don't always run into teams that you can just push over and have your way with. That you always want to keep your rugby, you know, your game plan flowing. Oh, look at that. That's a great ball right there.
Wow. Good kick. And he's going to get 2 points, make the score 40.
Yeah, but, you know, they're playing a lot of new guys.
Earlier, too, as the game progresses, the Idaho State players are going to start to wear down.
Definitely.
And it seems like, you know, for a while they kind of held them and then it just has all broken out loose.
Yeah, and you know, and sometimes you get a lot of guys like right there on the kickoff. If you look, you see like 3 or 4 guys kind of not firing off, and those guys are definitely playing an impact on how the game goes because you need guys in the position all the time. You need them pressuring, and if they're not in position, then the other team's going to dominate.
And it's very true. It seems like Boise State, and that's Ryan Shear. Look at the
him
big
go.
man go all the way to midfield.
Yeah. What you want out of an attacking prop because it opens so much
gets it right to the midfield line. Here's Stoltz. Inside to Lutu. And so far, Boise State looking very efficient. And you said that it doesn't seem like they're getting a lot of pressure. It just seems like they're just playing catch out there almost.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're missing tackles, and Boise State's
look
going
at that
for the
by
break.
Eric Fallon.
But I mean, look at Idaho State try to reset. They're all out of position, and if Boise State, is smart enough to get realigned, I mean, they're just attacking with open gaps everywhere. It's just everything's working to their advantage right now.
And with the 40-point lead, it doesn't seem like
they're attacking around. There's you just attack, and if they can't tackle you, that's on them.
Trying to get, and Idaho State looks like they got the turnover.
Yeah, let's see what they can do with this, though. When you get the ball in that position, you're just as dangerous as any other time. Oh, and it looks like they got the penalty advantage, too, on this one. So it must have been some type of words there, because he's marking him off an extra 10 meters. So it's basically giving the Idaho State guys a good ball right there. We'll see how they can use it.
And it's going to go directly out of bounds. So it's hard. You got to feel confident. Everyone's got to feel happy right now.
Oh yeah, especially for these freshmen, just coming from sevens rugby and finally putting 15s together, and everything seems to be working out to their advantage. Yeah, you just got to feel confident knowing that anything you want to do today is working out for you.
And it's everything that you would love to have the first game of your season go.
Oh yeah, and look at this.
Wow, number 6, Ty Bryan the second. And that's another try.
Oh yeah.
45-0.
And that goes back to our, our lineouts again. Boise State's pressuring with the big man. They got Paul Grimstead and throwing out there.
Able to get just enough meters to get right into the try zone, and they're not slowing down at all.
No, not at all. I mean, if Idaho State's going to continue to give them these opportunities, they're just going to blast through and score as many tries as they can. But it looks like Boise State's going to get some switches in there, with this kind of game. Why not let your guys come in? So we'll probably see 3 or 4 substitutions, as they call in American nomenclature, to actually go into the game and get some playing time.
And misses the conversion there. Doesn't really matter as the score remains at 45.
Out here, it looks like we got a prop exchange. Couple of guys. Looks like it's a lot of forwards.
Like Ryan Shear's coming out.
Yep.
All the big boys coming back in.
Oh yeah. And that's what you normally see, in the game of rugby. Your front row and your pack guys, they're the ones who take the collisions and they get wore down as the game goes on, and that's usually what you want, is to kind of refresh your guys.
They're the unsung heroes of your rugby team.
Oh, definitely, like the center and the guards of football, where you just need them to do the dirty work. They won't get their names in the paper. I used to tell my high school boys, take the prettiest girl to prom, but they do all the dirty work. Oh, they're going to go for points and kind of just, in games, you never want to put up a goose egg, so they're going to go for points and kind of get that monkey off their back and see if they can build some type of confidence in the game.
And let's see if they can put 3 points on the board.
Okay, so what you'll notice here in the game of rugby is it's uncontested. The guys in front of them can't even move or do anything to distract him. Rugby is kind of funny sport where even the crowd is not supposed to cause distraction to the kickers.
And tries up.
Oh, looks like he missed it.
And no good. Remains a shutout.
All different types of plays here. But you're trying to retain possession.
Ortega on the kick. Restart.
Looks like Boise State might actually win this ruck. We'll see how the ball comes out of there. Nope.
Idaho State, luckily able to retain possession, but not able to get a lot of meters there.
Oh, Boise State spoiled the ball. Good on them.
Another turnover for Idaho State. He goes right up the middle. Good fake. Quick passes. There's Mitch Castro going outside.
You know, we'll see how Boise State the ball again, attacking. Idaho State's trying to challenge, and if Boise State it looks like it's developing here.
And you've seen this all day. Here's Sherburne. Good pass to his wing. That's Luke Richardson. Look at the speed of Richardson. When you're 165 pounds, you got to be able to run fast.
Oh, yeah, but unfortunately he got a little too dynamic with the ball and turned it over, you know.
Mistake, and then another one by Idaho State, and Boise State gets right back.
Yeah. Sometimes what I like to do with my outside wings and got fullbacks is I like to have them play at the forward position for 3 games and let them understand how important that ball is to the team, and that way they're not just doing what they can. It happens a lot of times with those outside players. They're just not protected by that ball.
Here's Stoltz.
You know, I expect Cedar Sherborne to kind of maybe even take this ball around the edge and see what he can do with it if they win it.
And they've used him a lot today. Would not surprise anybody.
So here's that short arm penalty that we talked about, and what they're saying is Boise State infringed way too early, so they're going to give the ball to Idaho State.
Good cut here, and that's Lucas Mills.
Yep, and he's not getting tackled, so.
Mills.
So let's see what Idaho State can develop with this.
That might have been the longest play Idaho State has had all day so far. Got to be a good sign.
Good sign for them, definitely. But we'll see if they can repossession.
Look at Idaho. They won't be shut out today.
Because rugby etiquette is you don't dance during the game, you know.
I believe it's part of its Halloween costume.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, you know, we always go with that saying, act like you've been there before. Especially with the scoreline, it is what it is. But he's having a little fun out there, looks like.
Or at least, you know, do a cool dance. Don't just throw your arms like that. But let's look at that run, though. Just not able to tackle him, and then a lot of speed there.
Yeah, definitely.
Where was that?
You know, and he's a fullback, and he's obvious. You know, he's playing over forward. So if he was able to get just a little bit open in that area, he was capable of getting a break. So, you know, good. Works so hard during a game. Sometimes you just get something out of it.
Gotta feel happy at least you put some points on the board as a coach.
Yeah, definitely. You know, something to work off of. Hey, if we do this, then this is going to work. I mean, it works in every type of game. You know, if we're capable of just pushing forward and getting the ball to the guys we need to, then we're able to do something with it. We'll see if that works, you know, here in the second half. But, you know, I should think that Boise State's kind of saying to themselves, so, you know, we can't let anything like that through again.
And we'll see how Boise State responds to that last try. Idaho State just scrambling on the ground here. Able to get some yards. Brought down by 3.
Ball here. So Boise State's going to get the ball again. Make it with it.
Players.
That's a good ball right there. He was able to take it to ground. There's a lot of loose play. You know, I think the ref, who says he's going to be watching this later, is being a little harsh on Boise State right now, you know, as far as the way if Boise State's challenging the defensive breakdown or on offense, Idaho State is definitely a little loose in the defensive breakdown. But wow, what a ball right there on the penalty. Idaho State should be able to get the ball at the 5-meter line.
And good hustle by Stuart Boyd, who was thrown into the lineup last minute.
You want your backs to get on that ball. You never want their ball to hit the ground.
So now Idaho State gonna do a line out in great position here.
Yep, and it looks like they win the ball, and look at, wow, he could be
able to connect.
Yeah, looks like 22 might be offsides, but I'm not sure if the ref is calling it. Yep, he's gonna call it. 22 definitely got the break on that ball way too fast.
spot it there.
Yep.
And did he get in for the try?
He did. Looks like he did.
Good response.
Yeah, that's good for them, but I think what Boise State's trying to do right now, well, we just brought in, we've been dominating the game, brought in a few switches, and suddenly their game plan has gone awry because of those switches, because it breaks up the continuity, and they're trying to figure out, like, well, how can we piece this back together to play strong again? And the thing is, you just got to go back to the basics with them, but you got to get your guys in and give them an opportunity, because you never know when you're going to have to call on that guy to get him in the game right away. Idaho State's able to take advantage of opportunities right now, but in the game of rugby, you're dominating for 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, in the last 20, the other team's dominating. So Boise State, I think they're going to be able to play through it and going.
And right on the conversion, so it's going to be 40-12. State still playing to at least score and for pride right now. You don't want to see a team give up when they start getting down by a lot of points.
Exactly, and Idaho State's always had a lot of grit to them in my previous experience with them, so I didn't expect them to just kind of lay over and allow Boise State to just dominate them through the game. But Boise State's probably never been in a situation where they've dominated a team like Idaho State like this, especially at the level of rugby, so they're probably just wondering what's going on, like, what do we do with a dominating win like this?
Hopefully they can build off of it. Next week they play Utah.
So much better team. It's definitely going to challenge them.
Definitely not. City.
Well, yeah, and I think University of Utah is one of the better teams in college rugby. I put them, if you were to make a top 25, probably in the top 15. So they're definitely going to have their work cut out for them. Experienced team, big team. But look at this break.
Look at that by Richardson. Luke Richardson. Looks like Ty Lockett.
No, if he could stay up right now, his support will eventually show up and the ruck will be there. How BSU, yeah, look at that. They're in position. So it should work to their advantage if they don't give up the ball.
And great ball movement again by this offense. They continue to look so good.
Yeah, definitely. An opportunity to give the ball there and an off. So you're once again trying to, because they get a little too creative with all that open space,
And no lack of open space for Boise State from what we've seen so far on offense.
No, not at all. I mean, they've been opening a lot of breaks, and if they are able to maintain ball possession, they should probably score 4 or 5 more tries before the day is end. It's just a matter of them hanging on to the ball.
And Idaho State, looking to put some more points on the board, tries to chip it, and looked like it might have went off of Idaho State player and went out of bounds there.
And that's a tough decision for the Sir there, because, I mean, you got a player who went to kick the ball and figure it out there, and then, so he's going to call a line out to Boise State, which is probably the best thing to do in this situation.
Here's Boise State on the next lineup.
Big Paul Grimstead pulling that out of there nice and easy. Oh, look at that space.
Wow. Number 13, Eric Fallon. And Rich Castro, good catch. It looks like Luke Richardson able to get his hands on the ball near the try zone. They're trying to push further.
Yeah, and they got the outside break right there.
Oh, tries to get it off to Stuart Boyd, intercepted. Look at that reaction.
Backs a little too retaining position. They try to make something out of it, and they just give it up easy like that. It's got to be disappointing to the coaches to see that happen.
And almost hits the car.
Almost hits the car. Definitely, and it's not a baseball, so should be no broken windows here.
Looks like Idaho State now going to bring up another line out. And for Idaho State, when you're rebuilding and you have so many guys inexperienced, what's kind of throughout the season, what is the coach trying to do with the team? Just make sure they can get all the fundamentals correct first, or worry about winning?
Yeah, well, not so much winning, but I'm sure the coach, just his temperament. Look at this one.
Nick Lutu near the try zone. Looks like Boise State's going to extend this.
But look at this advantage out here.
Field.
Wow.
Only one guy there, and that's going to go with the Richardson. Easy try.
Oh yeah, yeah. And just to go back on that, you want your team to win, but what you see here is you got guys here at the game, but sometimes when you could get 16 players out to the game, it means you can maybe get 11 or 12 of them out to practice. It's hard to build continuity.
And let's take a look at the score here by Richardson. Now we noticed that only one guy is standing out there.
One guy on 5. You never really win that advantage. Think fast break in basketball, where players are capable of moving the ball around. I mean, it's all to that guy. Oh yeah, and
Reeves can't do that.
No, not at all. He probably said he could.
And here's for the conversion.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Boise State score this many points in a long time. So yeah, that's got to make the coaches a little happy. But yeah, in that situation, you're attacking on the left side. Most of the backs are on the left side. The forwards go where the ball is their natural mentality to not get out there and play on defense. And then you got your complete, if your backs are capable of realigning to the open side, then yeah, you can have breaks like that all day where you get 5-1.
As we talked earlier, this is exactly how they want to start out the season. And you mentioned what do they do with this win? But you really need to get that first win to kind of have that confidence.
Yeah, I'm sure now Boise State to figure out where they are and who they are, and stuff like this kind of helps them.
And here's Boyd.
In club rugby, you get a lot of times where guys don't come out, don't dedicate themselves, but when you start to win, and you start to build, and you start to get more students out and playing, more people start showing up, and then you can build from there.
Wade Henry had to carry there. And one thing about Wade Henry, biggest guy on the team, 5'9", 240 pounds. That's a physical specimen right there.
Yeah, and he might have some getting fit to do. He might have to try to get himself fit as they go into their conference season. So you're probably a 5'9" guy, probably around 220, 210 to really make him if he wants to get onto his fitness down to that level.
Boise State just immediately out of bounds.
And we still got, most of our important players, Cedar's still out there throwing the ball in, I think it's a little of both. Boise State's dynamic enough to break through what Idaho State gives them, and Idaho State is definitely, not playing a full defensive game. More spacing here for Boise State if they can figure out a way to break through.
Oh, look at that stiff arm. Muscle hamster, as you like to be called.
But yeah, another player from Capital Rugby. And I got a couple of knocks there, so we'll figure out what the ref wants to do with it. Looks like he's going to give the ball to Boise State. Yeah, another great player out of Capitol High. State championships from last year, And these are the type of players that have been playing rugby for 2 or 3 years now. They're just ready to put on the shirts for Boise State and know enough about rugby to know what to do.
It's always great to see local guys come in, to the program too, and just see the rugby scene here grow beneath Boise State.
And the coaches, they gotta love that too, because now they're not, trying to convince guys who don't know anything about the game to play. Now you're getting guys that are get better for them, and even for Idaho State, there's high school rugby out there at Eastern Idaho, and there's a lot of Boise kids going to Idaho State and up to Moscow to play for the University of Idaho. Just, oh, looks like we got another try.
Another try. That's Mitch Castro, his first one of the day.
Yeah, and the fly half doesn't get a lot of scoring chances, so he's got to love every minute of it. It's like the, distributing those passes out there to everybody for them to go in for the try. But every once in a while, when that fly half gets a try, it's a good moment for them.
And you look at the score, 69.
And there's still some coachable moments for BSU. Especially you try not let these guys get too overconfident. You got to reel them back in and be like, yeah, but if you guys do this and you guys did that better, it could have been 80 or 90 to nothing as you hope for a coach. So
it's a great outlook for a coach, kind of like Bill Belichick.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's got to be good for these coaches to see their team just kind of take off like this, as it's this coaching staff has been together for 3 or 4 years and practically begged players to come out, for rugby, and now to see it all come together finally.
And the home opener is a success for Boise State here in 2015. And just dominating.
They played great. There's a lot of players that stepped up in key positions, and that kind of what saw them through. Unfortunately for Idaho State, they need come a little more disjointed at certain chances and stuff, but they gotta love it. And I'm sure, Tuesdays and Thursdays when they do practice, they're gonna have an excited team, and they're only gonna get better. So it should be interesting for Boise State in these next couple of years to kind of see where this young squad kind of comes together and puts things together.
We'll look to see if they can find their identity as the weeks progress, and what players stood out to you most today that really caught.
I thought that their staff ran the game really well, and I liked Mosier at number 4 because he was able to win as many balls as he could in the air, and that takes impact, because sometimes if you get those set piece opportunities, you're able to come through. So, a lot of good play out there by everybody.
A special moment down there, Cedar. Looks like he's hugging his friend, parents, someone close to him. So
yeah,
good way. It's always good to see your team start off the season with a win. Now they're undefeated. Going into Utah, it's going to be a very good game. And you said Utah is one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, I'd put them in the top 15 in the nation. Yeah, there'll be another team will be going down to 7. Than Boise State, but what they're going to bring for next week's game, you would think would be kind of almost on that level to where it'd be good competition. And then Utah State, they play 2 weeks after that over there in Logan, Utah. That game should be more of kind of a situation where Boise State sees where they are, because as a rugby team, you need to figure out how to travel on the road as strong as you are at home, which kind of puts you over that hump and makes the difference.
So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to look to see Boise State and how they progress as a team with all these freshmen. But right now, they're undefeated, they're feeling good, and it'll be nothing better for them
right now.
The season home opener for Boise State, UTP.
Have a great day, guys.